So guys, so far so good. Any queries you have on whatever I told yesterday? Guys, anyone any query or should I proceed ahead?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
So yesterday I showed it to you the feature of Servicenow. I showed it to you what is ITIL, what is the benefit of ITIL and all. Today we'll be starting with the architecture of service. So this one is an important one when when you go for the interview prospect or when you write the certification and all, because these questions are mostly asked about the architecture and all. So let's start with the one. So the first thing first in the architecture is what is there in the top hierarchy. In the top hierarchy, you can see there is something called user interface. What is user interface? So obviously at any point in time, whenever the client is going to interact, as in let's say if I'm the end user, I'm the customer, how will I see the service now? So obviously I'll interact with the ServiceNow tool by using the user interface. User interface is nothing but, let's say maybe I'll fill a form, I'll see a list of data. So how will I see the data? I'll see the data by seeing the form view of it, correct? I'll open a particular record and then I'll see the details over there in that, correct? So that's why the top layer over here is called the user interface. That is the interface, that is the form through which the user will interact with the tool. So obviously the customer, the end user will only bother about this layer. For the customers, only this layer is exposed. They are not going to work on any of the below layers. Their work is only to work on the top layer called user interface. Now, also you can see on the top layer there is something called SOAP and other protocols. So these make sense when we'll be seeing the integration. So right now we can skip for this one right now. We'll see those things later on. So for now we can understand that user interface will be used by the customer. So that lies on the top layer, and the other protocols and all these SOAP and other protocols will be used when we will be integrating ServiceNow with any other tool in the market. Okay. Now, what is next over here? Next is scripting layer. What is scripting layer? So we, the developers, we will get involved in this layer called scripting layer. So we, the developers of ServiceNow, like as in, we are not the, when I say the developers of ServiceNow, I don't mean the employee of ServiceNow. I mean the developers like me and you. We will be involved in the scripting layer. So what does it mean by scripting layer? So what actually ServiceNow has done is, ServiceNow says, as I told you yesterday, ServiceNow says that there is no prerequisite for you to understand, any other language. That is, even if you don't know Java, even if you don't know JavaScript and all, it is okay for you to start up with ServiceNow. Why? Because ServiceNow has developed its own scripting language. So if once you understand, once you know the scripting language of ServiceNow, you as a ServiceNow developer, you will write ServiceNow specific scripting in this scripting layer. So let's say if I want to show something on the user interface, as in suppose, let's say when the user opens a form, in the form of field A should show this data, field B should show this data. So what will I do to populate those fields with the relevant data? I'll write scripts relevant to ServiceNow. I'll write ServiceNow level scripting to populate the fields on the user interface. So to populate the user interface data, scripting is done. This is exposed. This scripting layer is exposed to the ServiceNow developers like us. So we, the ServiceNow developer, what all we can do? We can script it, plus obviously we can test it out the user interface. We can open the form. We can see how the data is getting populated over there. So we, the developers, are exposed to the top layer, that is UI and SOAP and other protocols, plus we are exposed to the scripting layer. Now, if you remember yesterday what I told, I was telling you every time that the database, the server is in scope of the ServiceNow parent company. So now, whatever scripting you are writing, whatever ServiceNow scripting you are writing, that has to do what? Let's say it has to send the data or fetch the data from the database. Now, what does a database understand? A database only understands the SQL command, correct? For fetching the data, for sending the data, you have to write SQL command, and using that SQL command only, you can do the relevant action. So now this conversion, as in when you write ServiceNow level scripting over here in the scripting layer, this has to, let's say I wrote a scripting to fetch the data from the database. So now I wrote ServiceNow level scripting, but the database understands the SQL command. So this conversion of ServiceNow scripting to the SQL command happens in the DB layer. Okay. So how it gets converted, as in how whatever scripting you have written of ServiceNow, how it gets converted to the SQL command, that happens in the DB layer, but that conversion is not exposed to you. So even if you are a developer, you are only exposed till the scripting layer. You don't have direct access to the DB layer and the database. Both these layers are only in the scope of ServiceNow parent company. Only its employees can see and work on it. So that's why what will happen. So that's why ServiceNow level scripting, as a developer, you wrote it. It went to the DB layer in the format of SQL. It got converted to SQL. Then this SQL command finally hit the database. The database returned the data to the DB layer. And finally, from the DB layer, the data went back to scripting layer in the format of ServiceNow level scripting. And finally, it got displayed on the user interface in whatever way the system wanted or was expecting the data to be. So does that make sense to you? Guys, so far so good? Guys, anyone any query? Can I proceed ahead?
Yeah, you can.
I'll take it as a yes. Please stop me, guys. Wherever you have any queries, any concerns, please stop me right away, okay? Okay. Now, what is next over here? The next thing over here is that what are the key applications of ServiceNow? I'm not saying these are the only application. I'm saying these are the most frequently used applications of ServiceNow. So let's try to understand this one over here. So what are the key applications? It is incident, problem, change, and service catalog. So I'll start with first thing first. That is, I'll start with what is incident. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. What it says over here, it says incident means something has stopped working and it needs to be fixed immediately. What it means, as in, let's say, as I gave you example yesterday also, that is, let's say I was having a laptop of my organization and maybe my laptop has crashed. What I need to do in this particular case, I need to work on it so that I need to raise a ticket to the concerned IT desk team or the support team or the software team, whosoever the concerned team. I need to raise a ticket with them so that I can get their help in resolving the issue. So what will I do? I'll raise a ticket called incident in this case. So incident is raised when you face an issue of some kind. Issue can be anything. It can be hardware issue, it can be network issue, printer issue, whatsoever issue it is. What you will do in this particular case? In this particular case, you will raise an incident in the system. So let's see how to raise an incident in the system. And before that, guys, did each of you get this one? This instance, were you able to get it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. So let's see how to raise an incident. We need to get these things clear. So for raising incident, what will you do? In the instance, when in the left side you type incident, you will see all the data getting returned, all the filters getting returned based on the type. That's why when I type incident over here, you can see over here all these keywords containing incidents are getting returned to you. Now, one thing to understand over here is that if you will see over here, suppose for example over here, you will see incident is coming in the highlighted color. And all the items you assigned to me open, all these are coming in less highlighted color. And once I click on incident, all the items under it will be hidden. Again, if I click on it, it will be expanded, it will be coming back over here. Right? So now what we need to understand now, one thing over here is that whatever comes as a header is called an application. So over here, for example, this one is an application. All the items coming under the application are called modules. So over here, incident is an application. Create new, assign to me, open, all these are modules under this application over here. Okay. What is next over here? Similarly, self-service is an application. Under it, if I click on it, see, items are getting hidden. So under it, these items, incident and involved incidents are modules under it. Make sense? Now, so let's try to create a new incident. Let's see what all form it does. So let's click on create new. So now what is first thing first? Once you click on create, you can see this form is coming up over here, correct? So what you can see over here in this particular form is you can see some of the fields are getting auto-populated like number, category. So let's try to understand each and every field, because if your job is going to be a support job, if you get a Servicenow support job, your job also involves around interacting with the customers, letting the customers understand the fields, understand the forms in a much better way. Because customers will come to you asking, okay, what does it mean by number? What do they need to fill in, for example, in the collar, so on and so forth. So let's try to understand each and every field in detail so that you get better understanding, better idea on these fields over here. Okay, so let's start with first thing first. First thing first over here is the number. So think about a scenario that let's say both of us, we are facing the same issue, as in my laptop has also crashed and your laptop has also crashed. And now both are contacting the technical team. So if both of us have the individual ticket number, obviously the tracking becomes easy. Obviously the interaction with the technical team becomes easy. Otherwise, what will happen? Otherwise, obviously, let's say if both the person if we don't have the ticket number, and when we are interacting with the technical guy, it will become confusing for him to understand, okay, that which ticket are we referring to, which issue are we referring to. So to make the work more easy for the technical guy plus as well as for the customer, it is quite easy that if the number gets auto-populated, and it is always going to be unique, as in two incident numbers can't have the same incident number, two incident records can't have the same incident number. So the interaction with the technical team becomes quite easy for them when they refer the record by number in the system. So what you can see, the number gets auto-populated. So there are backend scripts written in the backend of it. We'll see that later at the time of seeing the technical aspects of it. That is getting auto-populated over here. And you can also see the number over here in the table is starting with INC followed by the number. Okay. Now, next is what? Next is caller. So think about a scenario that, okay, suppose your laptop has crashed. So if your laptop has crashed, obviously you will not be able to raise a ticket for yourself. Correct? So in that case, what will you do? In that particular case, you will request one of your colleagues to raise a ticket for you. Makes sense, correct? So now one thing I can say over here is that at any point in time, whosoever is facing the issue, who is the actual person getting impacted by the issue, his name you need to pull in the caller. So it can be the case that I am facing the issue, so I'll fill my. But if I'm raising the ticket on behalf of someone else, then in that case, in the caller, I'll populate that particular person's name. Make sense? So now, how to populate caller? Now you can see in this particular caller field, a magnifying glass is coming over here. So what Servicenow says is that at any point in time, if a field has a magnifying glass next to it, it is called what? If a field has a magnifying glass to it, that type of field is called a reference field. Okay, so what is a reference field? The functionality of a reference field is that at any point in time, that field never takes a string value. As in, for example, let's say if I type my name over here, you will see it return you error. Can you see it is coming in the red color? Means it is a wrong data. So how do you select the relevant data? For selecting the relevant data over here in the reference field, you need to click on the magnifying glass. Then what it is doing over here in this case of caller field, from which table you can see, once I click on the magnifying glass, it is opening a table data for me. Which table data is it opening for me? You can see the name over here. What it says users means this particular field is pulling the data from the user table. Now, how will you select the data? For selecting the data, just click on the user, whosoever is the caller. So let's say I click on Aline. So what am I saying? I'm saying that I'm raising this incident for Aline over here. Means this is the person facing the issue. If you want to select your name, you will have to select your name over there. Click on the magnifying glass, select your name over there in the system. Now, one thing you can see over here is that once I selected the caller, location got auto-populated. Why? Because in the user table, once I'll open the user, in this particular table only, for the user, there is a field called location which stores that particular user's location. So that's why when you selected the user, his location got auto-populated because scripts are written in the backend saying that, okay, when the user is selected, just populate his location over there in that particular. So if you want any other field to be auto-populated in the similar manner, you will have to do the scripting in the similar manner over there. Does that make sense? And also, one thing you will see over here is that if I close it down, let me close it out. What kind of field is location? Again, location is having what? It is having a magnifying glass next to it, right? So what type of field is location? Again, location is also a reference field, right? So again, if the location is a reference field, means what type of data it will pull? It will pull a reference data, that is, it will also pull the data from another table. So any field having a magnifying glass is going to pull the data from another table. Now let's see what happens in the case of location. I'm going to click on the magnifying glass of location. So in this case, from which table is the data coming? What is written in the over here? You can see written location means location field is populating, it is pulling the data from the location table. So one thing I can say is that at any point in time, it is not relevant. It is not always true that whatever you write it over there, it will pull the data, as in whatever fields are there, it will not pull the data from the same table. You, while creating the field, you need to specify that from which field, or sorry, from which table the data needs to be pulled in that particular field. Does that make sense to you guys?
So this means that we can select the location, whichever location we want. We want is set there.
Right?
Saloni, you can hear me? What I'm saying that if we suppose the caller is from like US or APAC, so whichever location from the location the caller belongs to, we can specify the particular location.
Okay. So actually what you will see over here, see, I can select directly. So one thing over here is that for this user, because this user has some location, it got auto-populated. If you want to change it, let's say I don't want this one to be populated, I'll click on the magnifying glass. And yes, you are correct. I'll just select this location. I'll expand this location, and then it was again subdivisions are there. And then whatever is the location I wanted to pull, I'll just select that one over.
Right. Okay.
But if we want, we can customize Saloni. Hi, Saloni.
Sorry?
Hi, Saloni. But if we want, we can customize that location, right? From locations table, we can.
Yeah, you can customize it. You can write the scripts, as in, let's say if you want to, you know, have some criteria, you can write the scripts relevant in that particular manner. Okay. Any other query, guys?
Fine.
Okay. Now, what is next over here? Next is the category. So obviously, what type of issue is it? Is it a hardware related issue? Is it a software related issue? So based on that, the categorization of the issue. Let's say I'm getting a hardware issue. Suppose my keyboard is not working. So what will I select? I'll select hardware over here. Next is what over here? Next is under hardware, what kind of issue is it? So let's say I select keyboard over here. So now it can be the case that I don't want to select this one. Maybe I want to select some other category. I can even select that. Now one thing you will see is based on the category selected, the subcategory will change. Which makes sense, right?
Right.
Now, Another thing over here is that it can also, you as a developer, your role can also revolve around, as in, let's say for example, now your company under software, your company offers category like, let's say ABC to be added. So when your company wants a category to be, subcategory to be added under this category, you will do this. You as a developer, you will have to add it over. Okay. Now, what is next over here? Let me select the subcategory. Let's say it is an email issue, support whatsoever. What is configuration item? We'll see that later. So let's skip that one for now. I'm not going to see cover that one for now. Now, what is impact? Now, think of a scenario that let's say 10 tickets got created in the system by this time. Okay. So now, at any point in time, if 10 tickets gets created, let's say, and if I'm the support person, I'm the support guy, which one will I prioritize? So the tickets need to be prioritized based on the priority. You can see priority over here. So the technical team will work based on the priority of the tickets. So whatever ticket will have, let's say a priority 1, that will be prioritized first. The technical team will first work on the priority. Then the technical team will pick up the priority 2 tickets, then the priority 2, so on and so forth. Now, one thing you can see over here is that if I try to click on the priority drop down, it is not irritating to me. I'm not able to select the priority. Why am I not able to set the priority? Because to the customers, think about a scenario. If I'm a customer, I don't know the technical ABC. When I face the issue, obviously everything is critical to me because I am not a technical expert, right? So what will I do in this particular case? In this particular scenario, at any point in time, whenever you face an issue, for you always it will be critical. So obviously you always set the priority as 1 critical. But it does not make sense, right? Because priority should be decided based on the criticality of the issue. You should not select anything any irrelevant priority over there. So that's why, because because the organization feels that the customers didn't have an understanding to decide the priority. So that's a priority is given to the customers. So what do the customers do? The customers select the impact and urgency, and based on that, the priority needs to be calculated in the system. Okay. They'll select impact. So let's see. If I'll select impact, you will see the priority got changed. Similarly, if I change the urgency, again you will see the priority is getting changed. So what we can understand over here? One thing we can understand over here is that any point in time, priority is based on impact and urgency. And what is the calculation? Calculation of it is priority is equal to impact plus urgency minus 1 becomes your priority. So over here in this case, impact 1, urgency is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 minus 1 is 2. So that's why over here the priority got set to 2 over here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So this is how your priority is working in the system. Now, what is the short description? So obviously in the short description, you are going to specify what issue are you going to get in the system that you are going to provide it over here. Okay. So let's say, suppose I am not, so I will just elaborate my issue. I'm not able to send the whatever is the short description. In the short and crisp manner, I am just specifying what issue am I getting it in the system. Now, one thing you can see over here, once I type the short description, system started returning me related search results. So what is system doing? So once you type in the short description, the system says that, okay, I'll search in the backend. Are there any incidents or are there any articles? What are the articles? We'll see that later at a much later stage. So what system does is whenever you type in the keyword, that keyword is searched in the past created incidents and in the articles, and system searches this keyword. Is there any article or is there any incident containing this same keyword or not? If it is, then those records are getting returned to you so that you can see those records. As in, let's say if I'm creating, if I have a query about policy 1, suppose the company has a policy 1, I want a clarification for that. So that's why I'm creating an incident in the system. What if, in this particular case, what if Suppose you also had created the request for the policy one in the past. So already the system has an incident created for the policy A, and that incident, the technical team has provided the solution that maybe let's say in the incident, they have uploaded the required document for policy. Now what needs to be done now, at any point in time, whenever you type in the short description over here, the results should return you what? It should return you the data based on the typed keywords, so that unnecessarily you will not be creating the tickets in the system. Rather, based on the keyword you typed in, the data will be returned to you in the related results, so that your work becomes more easy. So that without even creating the tickets, the data is getting returned to you. You can just click on preview, see, go to the preview, see the article, see the records, whether that is solving your purpose or not. If yes, okay, no need to create the ticket. If no, sorry. If no, obviously you will go ahead in the system and you will create ticket in the system. Does that make sense? Guys, so far so good?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So that's our description. Now on the right hand side, these two fields again you can see are getting auto-populated. Let's try to understand these. What are these fields for? So first thing first is over here is open timestamp. How does it? So at time, whenever once you click on create new, this button, when I clicked under incident, when I clicked on create new over here, whatever was the timestamp at that particular time, whatever was the date and time, that date and time got auto-populated over here in the opened field. Next is what? Next is the opened by. So whosoever clicked on his name got populated in the opened by. So these fields open and opened by gets auto-populated. Even if you type in data over here again at the time of submitting, the data will get auto-populated over here by the service system. Service out of the box, these fields gets auto-populated. You don't have right access to these fields. Does it make sense to you guys? Right, so far so good? Okay. So now let's see the next one. Next one is contact type. So if I'm facing some issue because I'm creating the ticket, so maybe I'm facing. Let's say that I'm personally facing this. So what is the preferred mode of communication which you want? As in, how do you want the technical team to contact? Do you want them to contact via phone? Anyone of you have to go on mute? Why I'm muting? Okay. So if you want to contact the person, as in what is your preferable mode, so that the technical team should acquire that preferable mode you are going to give it over here. So let's say suppose the preferable mode are email. So I'm saying, okay, the technical team, whenever they have any queries and concerns, they should contact via the email. But whatever concerns you're giving over here, it is not like they will only contact you via that. You are just saying that that is your preferable mode. They can still contact you via any other mode, whatever mode they want it in the system. Okay, what is next over here? Next over here is the state. So obviously, because I'm creating a new incident, so the state of the ticket is new right now. Let it be new. Assignment group. Now, what is this field about? So at any point in time, which is the technical team who is going to work on my ticket? The technical team you are going to populate it over here in the assignment group. So what you can see again, this field is magnifying glass means again this is populating, this is fetching the data. This is going to fetch the data near the let's that I'm going to click on the magnifying glass. So now what you can see over here under group hierarchy, all the group names are coming over here. So now from whatever group whatever is the group which needs to work, if you as a customer, if you know the group name who has to work on your ticket, you can select the group name. If not, it is not mandatory. If you don't know the group name who has to work on your ticket, you are just creating the ticket. No need to populate the group name. You can even leave it empty. Now, one thing I'll just show it to you over here is that let's say I select a particular group. So once I select the group, under that group, one of the members of that particular group can only work on the ticket. So once you select the group and then when you click on assign to will only show you limited users over here. But you can see it is only showing you 6 users from the user table. Why? Because it is only showing you the users who are member of the selected group. So in this case, it is only showing you the users who are member of the hardware group. Okay. So that is over here. I'm going to select the group. Let's select it after some time. I'll keep it empty for now. So now till here are we good with guys? Anyone, any question, any of the fields? What does it understanding mean?
Saloni, can you
Saloni.
explain again? Can you explain this short description once again?
Guys, you are not audible. Can you do a bit loud?
Can you hear me now?
Your voice is breaking actually.
Is it better now?
It's better, but it's breaking.
Okay. Now it's better because I'm using headset now. Is it better now?
Yeah, fine. So Saloni, can you explain this short description once again? That like.
Okay. So what is the query in the short description? What you didn't get it?
Like you were saying that whenever you will write something, it will populate something down.
Yeah. Okay, I'll show it to you. So first thing first is let me do one thing. Let me clear it out and then let me show it to you. So what you can see right now when I clear the short description in the related search result, nothing is coming over here. Correct?
Right.
Now let me type something. Let's say if I type test over here. Guys, is my voice still breaking for you?
No, fine.
Chitra, can you please reconnect?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Sarita, can you please reconnect?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Okay. So what I was saying you is the moment you type in the keyword, whatever keyword you are typing, all the records created in the past with this similar short description will get returned. For example, you can see when I typed test, this test vanilla is getting returned to me, correct? So if I click on preview, it will show me that particular record over here. Why? So that if this particular record, the record which is going to get opened over here, if this particular record is going to solve my issue, I can use this record. No need for me to create a new record in the system. So just to make your, to help you out, just to help you out in a better way, you are going to type in the keyword over here. Based on your typed keyword in the short description, the data is going to get returned to you so that your searching become as an unnecessary, you are not creating an incident. The system searches based on the keyword you type in the short description. The system searches all the other records, previously created record in the system to return you the data. So once the data is returned, what will happen? You will be able to preview it. Once you click on preview, what will happen? You will be able to see what record got created and all, and is that record solving your issue? So once you click on preview, you can go to that record, you can see, okay, what solution was given in the past, how it was fixed in the past. And if it gives you the solution, well and good, no need for you to create the incident in the system. So that's why short description related records help you in, getting the information without creating a new ticket in the system. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So far so good.
I have a question. So here creating an incident you're showing, right? So basically this will be done by the end user, the customer, but not by us, like not by service developer, right?
Yeah. So it will be done by the customers, but at some point in time, it can even be done by the support team. As in, if your role is not the service or developer, let's say your role is Servicenow admin, so your job also revolves around helping the customers. Let's say suppose my system is not working, so maybe I can chat it to you to raise a ticket on my behalf.
Okay.
So your profile can also revolve if you are the customer facing point of contact.
Okay. But here, like, So this will be done by admin or the customer. So as a ServiceNow developer, what will we be doing in this screen?
See, in this screen right now, as a developer, you are doing nothing.
Nothing, right?
As an admin, I'm telling you the things so that I'm telling you it because tomorrow when your client comes to you, because let's say I'm developing, suppose I got a requirement, for example, that my client comes to me and says in this subcategory, right now only two choices are coming called email and operating system. You need to add another choice over here. So I am telling you these each and every fields right now so that you get an understanding in a better way to understand what is the usage of each and every field. Because later on, even though you are a developer, you need to understand what is the use of that field. Why is that field getting used in the system? So that later on, if your client wants to do some kind of customization on the field, you are able to relate the use of it.
Okay. So
Make sense?
basically, as a developer, we'll be working on the UI then, like we'll be adding some text.
I'll not say that only on the UI you will work. Your job can also be revolved around. For example, I'm just giving you the basic examples right now. Obviously, slowly and steadily, I'll be walking you through to the technical aspect of it. But yeah, for now, for the basic overview of it, I can say it can be that you have to make some changes in it. As I told you, adding the choices to any of the field. Or let's say your client says, okay, I want another field to be added over here. So you will have to add that field. You will have to write the scripts to populate data in that field if and when required. Your client can also ask you to create a new application which is specific only to your client. Then you will be designing the tables, you will be writing scripts. Then your client can also ask you to create some buttons over here. For example, submit is a button. Resolve incident is a button. So similarly, your client will, let's say the client wants a close button. So your job will also revolve around creating the buttons in the system. So your job revolves around making any customization, making any changes to whatever ServiceNow has provided out of the box, making any changes to it will be done by the ServiceNow developer. You'll be writing any kind of script, any kind of design changes. Your job will be revolving around that.
Okay. But my doubt is like, see, like when you're on job or something, so they have asked us to add these fields and everything, and it's done. So once that is done, so does that mean like they will not need the ServiceNow developer for this job again?
See,
Or
it's not limited to one field. It's not limited to one of the cases. As I told you, there are a number of enhancements. You have to support the tool. As in, for example, it is not like you will be hired for 2-3 months. It is a long-term contract because if a service is an ongoing one, the team needs the support, the team needs the developers because let's say tomorrow if something crashes, maybe the ServiceNow upgrade got some changes in the tool because of which now again the code changes are required in the tool. So the team will have to have a ServiceNow developer with them always so that they support the tool till the end of the tool life. Till the time the tool is there in the market, your company is using the tool, obviously they'll be using this ahead in the system.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Anyone, any queries so far?
Fine, ma'am.
So now let's just submit this particular incident. Let me just copy the incident so that we can, open the same record again. So I'm just going to click on submit. Once you click on submit, what happened? Now, when you click on submit, then actually this record got saved in the database. Then this record actually got created in the system. Before that, whatever you were doing it on the form, the system, even though you were playing it on the form, the data was not saved in the database. It was just on the form. You were just playing around with the form of data. So now I'm going to search this in the number. I'm just pasting the number over here. So once I press enter, the system is returning the search based on the type keyword which I typed. So this is the incident which I created it in the system. Now what you can see it over here in the case of incident is that in the case of notes, you have something called watch list, work notes list, additional comments. Let's see each of these fields. So So first thing first is I'm going to start with the additional comments. What is additional comments? So what in the bracket it says? It says it is customer visible. So let's say the ticket got created. So right now, if you go at the before it, right now, what is the state of it? It is new. So what will happen once the ticket gets created? What will happen? There will be a support team who will assign it to themselves, as into their group, or they'll assign it to any other group. How will they do it? They'll open the ticket, they'll select the relevant assignment. How will they decide the assignment group? They will decide the assignment group based on the category and the subcategory of it. So based on it, they'll select the assignment group over here. Let's say I select assignment, suppose a software over here. Then what will happen under this software? I'll assign it to a particular person so that that particular person is, is responsible for working on this particular ticket. So let's say I assign it to Beth. So what does it mean? Now Beth is responsible for working on this particular ticket. What will I do right now? I'll go and click on update. Right now the state was new. When I clicked on assign to this one, and if I open the record, you will see the state got changed to active rather than new. Let it open over here. So you can see over here, you can see the state got changed to active over here. Why it happened like that? It happened like that because the system says the moment the ticket is assigned to someone means now the ticket is active, as in, what do you mean by active? Means now the technical team, this particular person is responsible for working on the ticket. So that's why now the state of the ticket is active, because our understanding is the moment the ticket is assigned to someone, that person is working on the ticket. So that's why the ticket is in active state. Again, the backend code is written for it, because of which the value of the state is getting auto changed to the active over here. Does that make sense to you?
Can you come again, ma'am, with this new and
So what am I saying is that what will happen if the ticket is assigned to one person in specific, means what? That particular person has to work on the ticket.
Okay.
So right now the state of ticket is active. What does it mean? It means that if the state is active means now this particular person is responsible for working on the ticket.
Okay, got it.
So that's why the state got changed automatically to active. So again, the script is written in the backend, because of which when the assign to is populated at the same time, the value changes to what? It changes to active. So if you want it not to change to active, if you want it to change to any other state, you can customize that particular script to make the required change. Yeah, what you were saying?
If it is not assigned to someone, it will be in the new state, and as soon as it will be assigned to someone, it will be changed to active state.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay, makes sense?
Right.
No. So this is about it. I'll cover rest of it tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. So guys, let me know your feedback, and then I'll show you the rest of it once I get the confirmation from you guys, and then I'll start the technical aspect of it. I'll show you other fields after I get the confirmation.
Okay.
So let me know your
Nice,
feedback.
hello. Hello.
Yeah, please tell me.
Yeah, what is the scope of Servicenow actually? Now, how it is emerging like that?
See, right now the market of Servicenow is very good, because each and every company, when I say each and every, means I say every company in the IT industry is using Servicenow. Either they are moving towards Servicenow or they are using Servicenow. Be it India, be it US, any location we talk about, all the companies are using Servicenow as their technical tool. So that's why the market of Servicenow is very good right now. You talk about anything, getting the job is very easy right now in Servicenow.
And Saloni,
So,
like in this ticketing system, is there any other tool other than ServiceNow?
Yeah, there are plenty of tools. There are Remedy, there is HP Service Manager, but I think one of you is coming from the Service Manager. So we will be knowing that your tool is also moving towards ServiceNow. And that's why people are into learning ServiceNow as soon as possible.
so what could be the expected package for a developer with 10 years of experience, around 8 years like that?
That
How long
I
we
can't.
can how long we can go actually? Whether we can go up to 12 lakhs or something like that?
That I'm not sure. That
No,
depends on the month. That I can't comment.
Actually, one of my friend also supposed to join if at all this quote has cleared like that.
That depends on how you negotiate, as in what is your current package and all. But yeah, market is
But
good, so
we can go right. But
it depends on your current package. It is not like that you will go in the market will blindly saying whatever you want. It all depends on what you are getting currently, and that 30-40% hike you can expect. But again, it depends. Again, let's say I see only 6 months back, obviously I can expect 30-40% hike. So it depends on on your profile, how is it and all.
okay, thanks.
Saloni, like now you're teaching, right? So after this, if you want to study online or something, where do we find materials to study?
So material wise, anyways, you will be having the recordings along with you. So obviously you can go through that, and I'll be covering each and every topic required for the developer activity. So whatever I have worked till date, it has been 7-10 long years for me. So whatever I have covered till date, I'll be covering each and every dev topic. So that will be enough for you to start up in your
Okay.
So Saloni, can you can show one single application, right? How to integrate into ServiceNow like that
very
in our
soon.
in our course. Okay. Okay.
Any other query, anyone?
Like Google only we need to do from Google.
The voice is coming very low. Can you please repeat?
Right?
Okay, the voice is coming very low.
Lots of sound is
Guys, others
Not able to hear actually.
Chaita, your voice is coming very low.
No, I
Can
am
you
like
repeat what
saying, yeah. No, I was saying like if you want to study or something, we just have to Google, but there's nothing specific, no specific website where we get all the information to study.
Yeah, so that's why you need this training, correct? As part of the training, I will be covering each and everything over here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, then guys, let me know your feedback and then we'll start the work.
Yeah. Thanks, Saloni.
Okay. Thanks everyone. Bye bye. Have a nice day.